next speaker is Denys Zhadanov. Welcome.
Not so long ago, I landed in London, and upon getting to customers control, there was this officer that asked me a simple question: Denys, what are you doing in London and why are you here? And I answered that, well, I'm here for the conference, I'm a speaker, and he asked, what do we do? And I said, well, we do great productivity apps, such as Scanner Pro, PDF Expert, Spark, and Documents. And he smiles, gets his iPhone out, shows me Scanner Pro on his screen, and says with this British accent, great software, sir, welcome to Britain, and puts a stamp in my passport. I wish I knew 100 million more stories of people who use our products that we create with our team of 137 people, I guess, that is now in 8 locations worldwide. But today we're going to talk about growth. And this is the current portfolio. I hope you guys using some of our apps, and we're doing our best to make your teams move to Spark for Teams. But this is the portfolio that we have right now, 8 big products that we're proud of. And you know, every story about a startup is like a real story, and then there is like the backstory that nobody thinks of or heard of. So the real story of Readdle looks more like this: 40 products that we developed, and only 8 survived. So we killed 32 apps, and we failed 32 times, which is a lot. But as we failed, we've learned, and the reasons for failures were very different. Let's say timing is crucial. Just a simple example. We've created an app that does GIFs before GIFs were mainstream, like 5 years too early. Or, for example, we've picked the wrong business model. We've tried subscriptions 4 years before it was mainstream. Or we used, for example, channels that are great for consumer apps. We used that for this more of a professional tool, and that didn't take off, and so we had to kill the products. We want to focus on products that can make a big impact and can create something bigger than just an app. That's why the whole team is working right now on kind of rethinking of where we're going and how do we build not just apps, but much bigger services. Today we're talking about growth. And since we hit this great milestone of 100 million users recently, I wanted to share 5 simple lessons that we've learned and give just examples, not just, just some talks, but real examples. And every presentation teacher will tell you, Denys, before the presentation, you have to announce what are you going to talk about, and then talk about it, and to finalize, you again say, what have you been talking about right now? So I will announce right now the kind of the framework that we will go through today. So those 5 lessons are simple. I'm going to mention what is app launch framework and how we at Readdle launch products or launch new updates. Then we will talk about growth through press, growth through existing users, growth through email, and then the main question. Is $100 million the same that $100 million in revenue? Okay, let's just go quickly from number 1, which is app launch framework. I'm sure you guys have your own products, companies, and you know how to launch products. And very quickly, I want to kind of do a brief overview and then focus on some things that I think are important and changing throughout the years, because we've been in this business since 2007, 2008, and a lot of things are changing. And it's important to pick up the trends and see what's changing. So we start with building a great story, positioning, kind of building something that tells what are we building, what problem does it solve, and for who. Very simple. Then we do, if it's an update, we communicate it through Inapp within the app. Then we reach out to press, we make a video, we use social media, we use email campaigns to tell about new updates and new products. Then we try to do a lot of kind of partnerships and think who might be the best partner to go together with so they can tell their users about our product. And of course, cross-promotion. Since we have a portfolio of products, a family of apps, we can then channel those users to a new product. And of course, we want to talk to Apple and Google's about potential featuring. So this is the kind of the major framework how we work, and of course, the devil is in the details. And I want to pick up on a few very important points here. So first one is press and the evolution of press. Quick example. So here's an article in Wall Street Journal in 2009. So there is a very famous journalist, Walt Mossberg, who is friends with Bill Gates, who was friends with Steve Jobs. And he writes this article in 2009 about 10 apps that make iPhone worth its price. And just a little mention of our product boosted our sales up to 800% for a week. So that was the clear indication when we understood, okay, press works for sales, for users, for acquisition, and that's why we focused back then on press this much, because it was a free channel. You can get it. It's hard, but it's possible. And to counter this example, let's go back to 2017. Last year, we did something really, really cool. We were the first company in the world to create this unique feature on iPad. When you use an iPad with 2 apps, you could have just pick a file on one app and drag and drop between different apps on iPad before Apple announced this. Of course, this was a big deal in tech community, and everybody in the world posted about this. TechCrunch, Verge, Mac Stories. Guess what was the effect on sales? Any ideas? Just give me a number. 1,000%. Anyone else? 5,000%. 10%. So this is a clear indication that press is evolving, and it's not as good as it was for real user acquisition and getting real customers, but you can use it for different reasons. So one of those reasons is that press is great for awareness. You want world to know what you're working on. You want world to know your product and your team, so which is also gives you a good indication that you can hire great people. And everybody wants to work in great companies, right? That people know about. That's why we feed our egos. And of course, getting press also helps with raising funds and money. There are so many investors right now who have big pockets, and they're looking where to invest. And of course, they all read press. So that's the evolution of press. Another very important point is that if you're being featured by Apple or Google, the effectiveness of that featuring for your downloads as well is also falling down. I'll give you a quick example. So Scanner Pro was one of the first apps of the week by Apple. We did a joint campaign back in the day. And in just 7 days, we've got 5 million downloads of Scanner Pro in a week. And today, if you're being featured on the new App Store, it's not even remotely close to what it was before. So this leaves us with another idea that we have to create our own channels. And really quick, let's go back to, oops, that's those 2 things that I mentioned, the Apple featuring and the evolution of press. Speaking of video, everybody knows that people are lazy. We're all lazy. We don't like to read. And that's why I encourage every company to communicate with their users through video. We just hired a full-time first guy at Readdle internally to be head of production at video, and we will be doing more of that for sure and growing this team. All right, let's go to the next one. Where's my slide? All right. And I was showing this presentation to organizers, and Yarik is like, Denys, okay, you're talking about press, it's amazing, but people want to know how does it work? How does one get press? Because you told me that people will think that, oh, it's Readdle, people know them, it's Denys, people know them. And really quick, I want to share one great example on how using Press recently, we've got over 100,000 users overnight. This was a story for Spark, and I was lucky enough to hear the rumor that the famous email client called Mailbox is shutting down. Dropbox bought this email client for $100 million, and things didn't work out. It sometimes happens when a bigger company buys a smaller startup. And they were shutting down, and Mailbox had 1 million users. And of course, it's clear that those people will be looking for a new home for their email, because those people are adventurous. Those people are early adopters. And I decided that if we do a campaign where when people will go online to find a new email client, when Mailbox will be shut down, I want Spark to be everywhere, and I want Spark to be #1 recommendation, #1 replacement for what we called Mailbox refugees. So how the Press framework, very, very simple, very fast. How did I do it? We never used any agencies with all these hands, very simple. Just find relevant publications. Just understand like who might be the right publication to write about your company, about your product, about your story. Then find journalists there who is actually writing about this topic. Then it's important to build relations. And when I hear, oh, it's just business, nothing personal, I don't agree. I actually think that business is personal. You work with people. So one of the ways to stand out from the crowd, what actually worked for me, was just read his or her work, follow her work, add comments, follow them on Twitter, Instagram. Don't creep too much. Don't go into their personal lives, but you can just stand out from the crowd if you follow their work. And then when the time comes, of course, you can tell your big story, and possibly you will get featured or written about. So I made a list of those. That's like the real one that I'm using. Say, those are different blogs. These are the authors. These are their emails. Where they're from. The green column is actually if he's replying or not. Then if he's not replying, we have a red color. But that's how it works. And that's an example of an email that I sent, an example of a pitch. So pitch always should be very short and to the point. And your goal is to help this person to do his or her job. You have to help him to have all the information they might need to create a beautiful story. So you would want to create a story yourself and then convey the story to this person. So that's just an example. Also, the timing was perfect because we were launching Spark for iPad and Mailbox was shutting down. So we had like, 2 great news in one day. And I just say, hey, we're launching this product. This is the deadline. Let's keep it under embargo. This is why amazing. This is like 3 bullet point features why it's amazing. And by the way, it's a great Mailbox replacement. You send all the links. So after reading this email, a person should be able to write his or her story. That's very simple. And as a result, we've got over 100,000 downloads overnight. And all the major press covered this launch and said that Spark is a great email replacement for those who are looking for a new one. And lifehacker.com even made a big article how to customize Spark to work like Mailbox. Number 3. Everybody likes revenue, right? So we were thinking, how can we grow revenue based on our existing users? Because we have a lot of users. And it's always a challenge, and always a challenge in terms of the product and the features, like the previous speaker was talking, right? And the example here is PDF Expert. And PDF Expert is probably one of the most powerful PDF editing tools on the platform. And it actually allows you to do everything with PDF, except you cannot actually make edits. You cannot really make edits and change text or images. But our development team was so good, so they took this new feature that actually allowed to edit PDF text and images in a format which was created not to allow that to happen. So, and then we started thinking, okay, we have this amazing, unique feature. Nobody else does it in the world. How do we sell it? Do we make a new product? Do we give it for free? Do we do something else? And then that's an example of how it works. And then we thought of a very interesting point about kind of cross-app conversions. We tried to do the kind of cross-app marketing before, and the results were not always great. Because let's say if we have an email of one customer who bought Scanner Pro, and we want to sell them PDF Expert or other app, the email conversions were not so good, and roughly about 2 to 8%, I guess. But when you really think like about the flow, the experience, why people are like going there or here, you understand that your conversion or your screen has to be very relevant and has to be very easy to accomplish. And the best way, like the ease of use of accomplishment of this upgrade or extra purchase is, of course, the in-app purchase. You know, if you have the Face ID or you have Touch ID, you just press a button, and then, boom, yeah, the user gets what he or she wants. And we made a decision to continue to add in-app purchase in our paid app, so which was kind of a little bit counterintuitive, and we've never done this before. So PDF Expert is a paid app for $10. But if you're looking for those pro features, you want to pay another $10 to get those text and image editing, which is unique. And guess what? Surprisingly enough, we've got super high conversions. 20% of people who bought PDF Expert, they also bought another in-app purchase, and that drastically improved our revenue, and then we almost doubled that year just based on this amazing feature and its presentation. So, to summarize this, it's possible to sell something of value to your existing users. It's hard to sell something that you just want to sell. So always try to create value and talk to your customers and ask them questions. Lesson number 4, growth using email. Everybody says, okay, not everybody, a lot of people say that email is dying, and that's not true. We're doing Spark, and email is one of the best forms of communications with your customer. And if you take global statistics, global numbers, there are 3 billion people on the planet who have emails. There is 1 billion people who use email for their work. People don't like email, and they hate email. We're trying to change that. But if talking about marketing, I want to share one case on how we managed to grow our user base to 16 million email subscribers. That's a lot of emails. Example is our most popular app. It's called Documents. And once you launch Documents, Documents is a great file management app that allows you to get all your files on your mobile, your videos, your music. You connect to all the cloud storages. You can unzip and zip anything you want. And it's very popular. We have roughly around 1.2 to 1.4 million new users every month organically. So once you launch Documents, it will show you this screen, and you will go through like a fast kind of and easy onboarding process that will kind of explain the value of the product and what you can do. It's a box for all your files. You can unzip. You can open file type. So as you swipe, you will also see that you can annotate. You swipe again. You see that we tell you that you can play your media files and read in anything you want. And the last screen that you will see during this onboarding flow is very clearly states, hey, if you want to get some news and tips or deals from Readdle, just leave your email. Simple, right? And you know, guess what? Surprisingly enough, a lot of people agree to this and give their email to us. And we're being very careful, of course. We never spam them. And we do provide value. We do send tips on how to use this product, on how to unlock the value. And open rates are super high. For tips and tricks, we have up to 50% open rates. So this is actually a new screen that we've added a couple weeks ago. The previous screen was this one. Guys, any ideas which one would work better? Who thinks this one works better? Hands up. Who thinks this one works better? So I thought too. In reality, once we added this new one, our conversions dropped twice, and from 30% to 15% of conversions in this email. And there's a very clear explanation why, right? You see that as you scroll along, all you can do here is enter your email, and Not Now button is in the upper right corner, which is not easily skippable. And this is great for numbers, but we thought that, and we saw that the open rates are dying, like are going down. And quick search, I think Pasha told me that we have over 13,000 emails in our database with the word fuck. So people write all the different things in this email and not necessarily their real email. So the idea and the mental process behind this kind of new screen was we agreed to get less emails, but we want to make sure that those people are willingly give their emails, and we expect to see more engagement. This is going right now, so I don't have the data to kind of to say how's this experiment going and if we have higher open rates or not right now. But I think in a couple of weeks we'll see the data. And the question about 100 million downloads, can that be translated in $100 million US? I think in theory it can. But right now we are still working on that, so that's not the case for us right now. And this kind of gets us back to our idea of working on a funnel. So we're doing great things for the top of the funnel towards here, towards purchase. But the real work, the real job for every company, as you grow, as you mature, as you know how to attract a lot of people, as you know how to bring them to your products, the real work starts here. In this part where it's like your churn, your retention, you work with your people, and you want to provide great service, you want to provide them support, and finally you can make them your ambassadors. So they will tell out to the world and say, I love this product, use this product as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denys. Do we have questions here?
I have two questions. First one, how do you focus on product when you work with 5 applications at the same time? It's hard to focus on the one product, and do you have different team and how you work with it?
That's a very good question, yes. So we have right now 5 major products, and we assemble teams with product owner for each product. And then only my department is cross-functional, so only marketing department will work with every product, because we think we can learn a lot from different experiences, and then whatever is done with this launch or product, we can then implement in the next upgrade or next marketing campaign. Whereas all the other functions like development, design, QA, and even customer support, and now are focusing around one product, so the team has a clear focus.
Okay, thank you. And second question, okay, it's great when you create something new or something that user can switch from old dying product, but how you can work with media if you do some software that already exists in the market and you don't have special features to talk about them?
You have to create story. just people love stories. So it's not about features anymore. I think it's about the story. And can you give an interesting angle that will be interesting for those media companies? Because, well, look, the journalist's job is to create a good story that people will come and people will read. And the more people come, the more money the publication is getting paid for the visitors, right? Because they can serve more ads. So if you can help journalists and be creative to really think about the interesting angle about your company or your story or anything that people will get excited about, you can do that.
Okay.
Hello. The question is about Spark. I remember the moment when you started this project, and to be honest, I didn't believe in the future.
You were not the only one?
Yeah, and the question is about this positioning. What was the key message that helped you to separate, to stay out of all these millions of email clients, and how did you succeed in this?
Very good question. So with Spark, actually, that's an interesting story. So me and Alex, our co-founder, Alex Zagutsky, we sat on a plane and flew to San Francisco, and we talked to 70 people doing customer development and asking, what problems do you have with email? And everyone was telling us different stories and different problems, but half of those people were smiling and saying, good luck, guys. You guys from Ukraine trying to create a great email client, Google is doing that, Outlook is doing that, Apple is doing that, who do you think you are? And we kind of had to fight this, it's not very nice and doesn't feel good. But again, we believed in what we were building. And speaking of positioning, we have a very cool feature in Spark. It's called Quick Replies. So you can, in one button, you can reply, say, with a like, or send a smile, or send a heart emoji, or send agree with one button. And the concept of instant reply, and you can now like email in Spark. And we thought, if you can like email, let's take it to a bigger concept and let's try to make people love email again, because love is a much bigger, powerful word. And we talked to many people, and many of them hate email. So we wanted to change that into love. And the tagline says, Spark, love your email again. But also what we're doing right now, we're building the future of email. And I'm right now using those two main positioning principles to translate what are we doing.
I saw, on a back row, if we can send a microphone there. Can we? Perfect, thanks. And basically, I have a quick question. You mentioned the customer interviews, and that you talked to 70 people. Who those people were? How did you find them? What was the process?
So that's very good. So be very careful who you select as your customer interview, because we talked to 70 people in our industry, people like us, who have a lot of emails, who are in technology, who are opinion makers, who run their companies, and those are a very small fraction of people from all around the world. And we wanted to create the best email client in the world for everyone, and it appeared that's not the case, and you have to focus on specific niche or a segment, and also be very mindful of what people will tell you, what they think they want or what they think they need. It's not usually the case. I'll give you a cool example. Every one of those 70 people told me, Denys, search sucks. I cannot find anything in my email. You have to make a great search. We said, okay, everyone wants this. Let's build something amazing. And we've built a search that is very smart. We call this smart search. So you can say, I can search email from Yaroslav with PDF last week. And Spark will understand all those main words and will show you me just emails from Yaroslav with PDF files from last week. So we added those cool feature. And we launched it, and some people loved it. But then we looked at the numbers, and it appeared to be only 7% of our users on mobile use search at all. So it's very tricky, and you have to be very mindful of what people are asking, what they want. and then what they really do. Another cool question, cool example I heard yesterday. So there is this food delivery company, and they've been asking their people, like, what kind of food do you want to eat? And everybody says, oh, we want healthy, we want good nutrition, we don't want pork, we don't want fat. And then he shows me like the real, the best sellers is like fatty fettuccine with pork with double oil and something like that. So it's a nice example that people say what they want because they want to feel good about themselves, but in reality they just do different things. And we had the questions there, right? Sorry, guys.
Yaroslav just asked my question, but I have one more. How did you decide what type of features you include in the first release of your product?
I guess it's like, how do you work with the MVPs and
Yes.
first releases, right?
Yes, correct.
So with email, it was very hard because with email, you cannot build that is something that is like 10% better. It has to be substantially better because there is this pain of switching cost. People are lazy and people don't like changes in their lives, even though they claim they like innovation, they don't, no. So you have to be like something that is fundamentally better, and it's both customer development and our vision and talking to clients, potential and customers, and understanding what is actually the package and is this enough to create a very powerful story and positioning. Remember the first lesson, the first slide that I showed was about the positioning, but then you have to also create a positioning and the product that delivers this positioning. So let's say with Spark, the main idea is that we wanted to make you see what's important and work really fast in email, and that's why we just focused on creating a smart inbox that bubbles the important stuff at the top. But it's never ending. MVP is always like not enough. Yaroslav can even talk about more about how you guys did it with setup, right?
Oh yeah, that was a long story. Yeah.
Right? But we have one more.
Now we have like 3 more, I think.
3 more. Okay.
4 more.
Did you check the retention rate somehow before the launch marketing program?
We didn't do retention rates, but we do a very cool thing. We did like a closed beta. So before the official launch, we got a couple of hundreds people who are like active email users. And we also tried to include some of the famous people in this area. For example, this guy, Merlin Munn, he is a famous in productivity space, and he has, I think, 600,000 followers on Twitter, and he is the father. He is the creator of Inbox Zero concept. And Spark actually has that concept as well. So he was actually using Spark and giving his feedback and because he's been thinking about this for 10 years. So you can ask those people to come help you, and they will feel important because they help you to create a product. And when you launch this, they feel that they've also kind of affected this product and also they were a part of this product because you listen to their feedback, you add the features that they wanted, and then they will be happy to share that with all their users and friends. Again, ego, right?
Did you personally invite him to be the user?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, not about cocktails, right? It's
Well,
writing emails.
he was the way I met him. He was using Calendars 5, and he mentioned that on podcasts. So again, I'm always listening to podcasts, I'm always reading press, and kind of find those people who are in this industry. And I just reached out, sent him an email saying, "Hey Merlin, love your work. Thank you for using Calendars. If you have any feedback, just let us know. The team, we will work on adding your kind of features and requests and stuff." And then there was WWDC or some other event, and we just met in person.
Cool. Yeah, we have one more.
You mentioned that you requested Google and App Store to feature your product. Could you tell a bit more where exactly was it featured in Google? Was it some special listing or?
So we don't have Android apps yet. I mentioned Google because I was I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this actually, but that was always like overall request about working with App Store and Google Play, and they have their editorial teams. So we don't have any Google apps, but we're launching Spark for Android very soon, hopefully this January. And you can always reach out to them because they are looking for new products and they're looking for new content to feature, because ultimately App Store is where content is being featured and delivered. And there is the special link that you can go to. I think it's App Store/promo or promotion, where you can nominate your app to the editorial team, and they will look at your app and they might feature you. But it never, there is no guarantee, never. So the way it works, you do your job, you do your product, your positioning, your story, you send it to them, and maybe one day you'll be featured, but you never know. The good news is that you should not rely on somebody else. It's up to you to build the product and the funnel and the marketing channels that will kind of get you to the market. And as I mentioned before, the effectiveness in pure app installs is going down from our experience. I think overall trend on the App Store, we're seeing more than lots overall in the world. But from the featurings, from our experience, they're going down. All right, that's all. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you, Denys.